Hi guys, this is Exhibit O here, and this is actually my first ever YouTube video, so welcome to my channel. I just wanted to give you guys a brief overview of the top productive apps I use on my Google Nexus 6, and this is a question I get quite a bit where people say, hey, nice phone, what apps do you have on it, right? So I get this question mostly amongst Android enthusiasts and people who like to install different types of apps on their phone and make their lives easier, right? So I just want to give you guys a brief overview of the apps I use every day and see what you guys think. So first of all, the first app I have here is actually LastPass, and what that is essentially a password manager. So it allows you to have one master password, and you can save all your different passwords using LastPass. So all you have to do is kind of remember one password, right? You don't have to remember a million passwords. And on Android, the good thing is it has a fill-in feature. So if you open another application where you do have a LastPass password saved on there, it allows you just autofill it. And I'll show you guys an example of that. So here I'm gonna open up private internet access. Let me just do that here. And you see how I open up private internet access, it asks me for my username and password. And if I just tap here, it asks me to enter my LastPass PIN, which I'm gonna do. And once I do that, it allows me to essentially fill in my LastPass information there. So that's pretty handy. So you don't kind of have to remember any passwords. You just fire up the app and it does all the rest for you. Next app I have up here is CalQ, I think it's called. It's a simple calculator app, and it looks great. It does all your basic calculations, and I'm not sure if you can quite categorize this as material design, but it does have some aspects of material design, and looks great. Tons of features. It does have a history, like I just pulled up. Tons of themes you can use. This is my favorite one, actually. Actually, no. This is my favorite one. So it has tons of themes and things like that. It's a pretty cool app. I never really see, the purpose of the videos, I never really see these apps being talked about quite a lot. So I just wanted to, LastPass is not one of them, but this is definitely one of the apps where I feel like people don't quite talk about them as much. So I'm here to just give you guys a video showing that off. And next app I have here is a VPN app, private internet access. I think I showed you guys that before. Let me just load up my username here. So what this is a VPN app, and it allows you to essentially encrypt your internet traffic. What that means is it allows you to hide your internet traffic from your internet service provider. And this is useful for tons of reasons. And what most people use VPN services for is, for example, let's say you're traveling overseas and you want to watch some US Netflix, for example, and it's not available in that country. You can simply VPN under a US server, and it encrypts all your traffic through US servers. So when you go and open the Netflix app, it allows you to watch Netflix just like you're in the US. So works pretty well. Basic VPN app. Next one I have here is actually Nest Thermostat, and it's actually offline right now because there's a low battery warning, I believe. And I actually just learned this today. You should be able to turn up the temperature up and down, heat, all that cool stuff. But unfortunately, my Nest Thermostat actually has a low battery, so it takes a few hours for it to charge back up. So I really can't do anything with that right now. But it's there. The other one I wanted to show you guys is this FooBar controller, and what it does is it allows you to control your FooBar media player. FooBar is essentially a Windows program that allows you to play, music and things of that nature. So say you're away from your desk and you want to play some music, or you want to pause some music, or change your playlist or something like that. This app kind of allows you to do all that on kind of away from your desk. Let's say you're in the kitchen cooking up a meal and you don't want to walk all the way to your desk and change the track or something like that. This is a useful app for doing just that. So I think I already have a song queued. My speakers are on, so let's see if we can play this and see if it works. So as you can see, the song is playing. It does have a playlist feature, has basic features. You can actually rate the track. You can fast forward, change the volume. You can actually look at your library too. You can pick different artists. I'm not going to do that. It's a cool little app that allows you to have some basic control of your media player on your computer. So I'm going to pause that right now. Pause, that works. And I just got a push bullet notification. I'll tell you right what that is. So the next one I want to talk about is RD Clients, or Remote Desktop Beta. It's actually a Microsoft app, and it's an RDP connection client. What that means is it allows for basic remote desktop connections. I do have one set up with my media center or my HTPC over there in that side of the room. So it's already set up on my local network. All I have to do is just tap the connection, input my username and password, and it should connect. So it does allow you, and right here is my my desktop for my HTPC. So you can take control of the computer, start menu, all that cool stuff you can do. And you can actually access all this outside of your network. And and there's an app in my list that does just that. As you can see, this is pointing to 192.168.1.2, which is within my local network. So if I were to be outside of my network or disconnect my Wi-Fi service, this actually wouldn't work anymore. But there's an app to do just that, to allow you to basically connect to your local network away from home. So I'll show you guys that also in a second. Before I do that, I want to talk about Twilight. And what this does is it adjusts the saturation and brightness of your screen to kind of accommodate for the fact that, at nighttime the sun is down, and it reduces eye strain. Because typically the way human beings evolved is that at nighttime you're not supposed to be straining your eyes at nighttime. So using computers and things like that, your eyes are really not supposed to be seeing that tremendous white light at night, especially if there's no ambient lighting, proper ambient lighting, So this kind of adjusts the color temperature and saturation of the screen to do just that. And as you can see, I do have a time profile set up here for 9 p.m. to 7:40 a.m. So anytime within that window, it would kind of adjust the saturation of the screen to do just that. And this is actually the first app that in my list so far that doesn't require root access, but if you do have root, it actually gives you access to a little more features, such as it allows you to hide the notification bar and some other cool stuff. But it really doesn't require root for the basic use. But if you do have root, it would allow you to do a little bit more things. And if you don't know what root is, just Google Android root. Root essentially allows you to take control more of your device, allows you to access system files and things like that you wouldn't ordinarily have access to. So next is FX, and this is one of my favorite apps of all time, like on Android. So, a lot of props to the developer. So what this is a basic file manager, but one thing about this app I noticed is not a lot of people talk about this app. In the world of file managers for Android, people usually talk about apps like ES File Explorer, Solid Explorer, and those are all solid apps, don't get me wrong, but I do like this one a little bit more just because it has, as you can see, it kind of has all the different components of what you would look for file management. There's a network section, which is super useful to me. So I have this mapped to my HTPC again, which is over there, and I'm running an FTP server. What that means is I can kind of browse the files locally on that media center, using this file manager. So I don't have to go on the web or download a separate program. It's kind of built into this app, which is cool. It of course has your access to system files, just like you would have with any other file manager, things of that nature. It also has a built-in music for music and stuff. So you can check out all your tracks. I don't have too many tracks on here, but it does have that music manager built in. One for images as well, videos. I showed you guys the network ones. It has an app manager built in. You can look at your user apps. So it's kind of like an all-encompassing package of things you would want to do with file management. There's a Bluetooth section too, so if you have some Bluetooth devices, you can connect there. documents, things like that. So it's kind of all inclusive, which is why I like it the most. And of course, if you have root access or something like this, it would allow you to go into, actually I haven't allowed root yet for this, but it should allow you to go into your system files and stuff like that. Let me just dismiss these, okay? So the next one I have on here is Franco kernel updater. So what this means is it's essentially a kernel for your device. I'm rocking a Google Nexus 6. So what essentially a kernel is it's the software. You can kind of look at it as what communicates your hardware to the software on your device. So it tells your device, hey, what CPU frequency it should run on, what governor should run on, things like that. So it's kind of, it's kind of one of those cool things you can do when you have root access. You can run a custom kernel and kind of get more out of your device. And in my personal opinion on the Google Nexus 6, this is the best kernel you can have or you can use on this device, just because it just makes it so fluid and, you know, helps with battery life and things of that nature. You know, with this app, you can change the governor, you can change the CPU, you can overclock, underclock, you can do all that cool stuff. I'm not really doing any of that stuff. I'm just kind of rocking the basic or the default settings that come with the kernel manager. So I don't really play with all this stuff anymore. There's just too much stuff to play with, really. But it does offer all those options, has a nice interface. Developer Franco is always updating the app. So in my opinion, this is the go-to kernel manager for the Nexus 6. Shout out to Elemental X though. Elemental X is kind of my second runner-up, but I do prefer Franco kernel. Next up is Wake Lock Detector. What this does is it allows you to detect wake locks on your device, as in the name. What is a wake lock? A wake lock essentially is when some app you have installed on your phone wakes your device from deep sleep. So say you're using your phone and you shut the screen off and walk away. You would expect that the phone stays in deep sleep and it's kind of not utilizing your battery when by launching apps to wake up the device. So when you have Wake Lock Detector installed, it kind of sheds light to those apps that are waking your device. And this definitely does require root, just FYI, but it does give you more visibility to see what apps are waking your device. In my case, I have Google Play Music keeping my device awake 20% of the time, but that's only because I was listening to music for a huge part of today. So it kind of gives you visibility on which apps are waking your device, and the infamous NLP Collector Wake Lock is shown here. Okay, so next up we have Juice SSH. What this means is this is essentially a SSH app. What SSH means is essentially a port-to-port encryption as opposed to VPN, which encrypts kind of all your traffic. So if you connect to VPN service, just like I showed you guys before with private internet access, it encrypts all your internet traffic, right? So you can think of SSH kind of as a poor man's VPN, where SSH works as, it encrypts only port-to-port encryption. So say I wanted to access my router settings, within my network. As you can see, I'm connected to Wi-Fi here. So all I would have to do essentially is open up my browser and just go to 192.168.1.1. Once I load that up, it kind of prompts me to log into my browser settings, as you can see here, which you would expect. But if you fire up SSH, what that allows you to do is access that same screen away from your network or disconnected from your Wi-Fi service. So it kind of maps that port. I think it's port 80 for standard internet connections, at least for the router page is port 80. So what it allows you to do is map that same port 80 to another port. Say you actually get to pick whatever port it is. So I'm gonna actually connect to that port. First of all, let me actually disconnect from my Wi-Fi service to show you guys. So I'm actually disconnected now. I should be connected to my LTE service here. Good. So let me just launch the app and just do this real quick. Okay, so I just connected via Juice SSH. As you can see here, it says localhost 6464 to 192.161 168.1.80. What that means is 192.168.1.1.80 is where my router is on my local network. So it maps that address to locally to port 6464. So if I wanted to access that same page, all I would have to do is come back here. Well, let's try this first so you can see this. So if I typed in 192.168.1.1 and press enter, it wouldn't be able to resolve, right? Because I'm no longer on my local network. So it just kind of hangs there because it can't resolve that address. But if I were to clear that address and type in localhost 6464, right? So if I come back here, yeah, 6464, and do this, enter. As you can see, it prompts me for the same username and password like I'm trying to log into my router settings. So it would allow me to do just that away from my network. And this SSH is actually useful for a bunch of things. If you have like a Raspberry Pi or an HTPC or anything you would control locally in your network, you can access all that stuff kind of outside of your network. So if you're on a trip somewhere, you can kind of control things. The good thing about things like Nest is that you don't need to SSH. You can just control it's kind of built in, I guess. I'm not sure if it rides on the exact SSH protocol, but it allows you to control your temperature kind of within your network and outside of your network. This is a more manual way to do things where you kind of force that connection to be available locally, essentially. So let me just disconnect here because we're not using that anymore. Next one is Greenify. What that does is it puts apps in hibernation. What that means is that, when you turn your screen off like this, you want to make sure that no apps are kind of in the same vein as the Wake Lock Manager we just talked about. You don't want apps running or keeping your device awake and kind of eating away at your precious battery life, right? You want all this stuff kind of hibernated. So what I did is I did hibernate a bunch of apps here, and these ones I actually kept running. If you go all the way down, you would see these ones are actually hibernated. So when I turn my screen off, it essentially guarantees that these apps listed here do not wake my device, essentially, which is what you want. So that's kind of cool. Again, this does require root access, and there's actually another step to this. For more advanced users, if you do have Xposed framework installed, you can access a lot more features. But I'm currently on 5.1, so hey, I don't think Xposed is available on 5.1 yet. So I'm just rocking out with the standard root access. That's good enough for me for now. So next one is Pushbullet. This is actually an amazing app. What this does is it allows you to send notifications to yourself, or it allows you to subscribe to notifications from different forums and things like that. So as you can see, I'm subscribed to Android Police Deals. This one I sent to myself earlier. I'm subscribed to Google Play Services updates. So every time any of these things happen in real time, a notification is sent to Pushbullet, and Pushbullet sends that notification to me, essentially. So let me give you a quick example of this. So let's say you're browsing something or you're researching something on your phone, and you have to step out and walk away and leave the house or whatever, and you don't have access to your desktop computer anymore. As opposed to emailing yourself the link or texting yourself the link, which is kind of archaic in my opinion, you can just install Pushbullet on your browser. I use Chrome, so you can just push that link to yourself. So as you can see, I have no notifications, and I'm about to push this link to myself. So let's see how long this actually takes to happen. I'll tell you as soon as I click it. So Pushbullet and click. So almost instantly, right? You get the notification, and you can just click it, and it opens up the article in which you're reading. Let me just connect back to Wi-Fi. So this was the article I was reading on my computer, and here you can see it open up on the browser. So this is cool because you can send not only links, but you can send stuff like images, you can send stuff to your friends, and you can actually subscribe to things. So you can subscribe to Android Police, so whenever there's a new Android article, it gets automatically pushed to your phone. I'm subscribed to Cyanide and Happiness, some other comics and stuff like that. So in the mornings when I wake up, I get all those push notifications sent right to my phone. So it's kind of cool to do that. Like I said, you can send links, images, videos, maybe. I'm not too sure about the videos, but I have used it to send links and images for sure, and that's cool. Next one is All the Cooks. This one is a cooking application for recipes and discovering new recipes and dishes and stuff like that. And this is kind of a partial material design, I guess. I wouldn't really categorize this as exclusive material design, but it does look fantastic. I love the direction Android is heading right now, where all these apps look modern and they're great to look at, and everything just looks wonderful. Anyway, this app is cool. If you're into cooking like me and you like to make your own meals and stuff like that, this is a good way to discover new meals from the community and people and things like that. You can look at the ones that are highly rated. I actually tried this one out myself. It says black pepper beef. As you can see, it has over 1K hearts, I guess. This one actually has 3K. But so let's. What looks tasty over here? This looks good. Strawberry banana oat muffin. So this has 3K as well. If you were to open that, shows you all the ingredients, the time it takes to prep it. So it's kind of a nice directions as well. Everything is highlighted so you don't make a mistake. Pictures before and after. Yours might not look like this, but if you follow the directions as shown, it should. So this is a good app. I'm actually yet to explore this fully myself because you know how these things are, but it's a good way to discover new meals and stuff like that. I've used it a couple of times, but I need to actually use it more and follow my own advice. So lastly, on my tools list, I want to show you guys App Ops, and most advanced Android users are kind of already familiar with this one. And this was actually an app built into the Android framework that was available with Lollipop 5.1 or 5.0, I should say. I'm sorry. And for some reason, Google pulled this with subsequent updates. What this allows you to do, which is great, I actually think Google should bring this back because this is really powerful. And it didn't require root when it was available from Google, but ever since they pulled it from visibility, you do need root access to kind of see this. And this is installed from the Play Store, and what this does is it allows you to take away permissions from certain apps. So for example, there's an infamous wake lock, just like we discussed earlier with Wake Lock Detector. There's an infamous wake lock with Google Play Services and Lollipop devices running Lollipop. So one thing you can do with this device is take away permissions from certain apps. So I don't want my Google Play Services to stop working altogether. What I do want is for it to not keep my device awake. So as you can see, you can simply just toggle that switch, takes away permissions to keep your device awake, and your device should sleep without Google Play Services waking your device and killing your battery life. So that's kind of all the apps I wanted to show you guys when it comes to tools and stuff that makes my life easier. Like I said, whether it's SSH or VPN or remote desktop or FX, all this stuff just kind of makes the experience better with a nice interface and stuff like that. And over here I have my DLNA folder. What that means is DLNA stands for Digital Living Network Alliance, I believe, something like that. What that means is it allows you to have a server running locally, and it allows you to basically watch things on that server. So like I said, my HTPC is somewhere over there, and I have a bunch of TV shows and movies on there. So what that means is I can hit this button for Chromecast, I can select my Chromecast, I can pick different shows and just send them right to my TV. So it's kind of a cool way to experience Android and experience media locally at home, because you can use your phone as a remote, which is cool. All these other apps here are kind of in the same vein. Localcast kind of does very similar stuff to Plex. Bubble UPnP does something. These are all kind of in the same vein as Plex. Netflix, on the other hand, everyone's familiar with Netflix and TuneIn Radio. That's just a radio, internet radio that allows you to listen to different radios from different parts of the world and stuff like that. So all these are kind of in the same vein for Chromecast features and entertainment. I should actually rename this Chromecast, not DLNA, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so that's kind of all the apps I wanted to show you guys today, and I hope you guys like this video. And I do follow the Android subreddit, and there is a thread every Monday to talk about new applications and stuff people recommend. And what I notice is, people don't really mention like things like FX. Twilight probably gets some mentions, but Juice SSH, all these kind of more powerful tools don't really get a lot of love. Maybe people don't use a lot of these features, but I think once you get to know them and use a lot of these apps, you really can't go back, because it just kind of empowers you to do stuff that you wouldn't, be able to do otherwise, in my opinion. So, give it a shot. I'll leave a link to every single one of these apps I showed here today in the description, so you can check it out for yourself, install it, give it a go. I'll tell you the ones that need root and the ones that don't need root. And if you don't know what root is, again, just Google Android root, and you would, just Google it and see what it is. And Android root essentially allows you to have, deeper control over your device and stuff like that. All right, so that's kind of all for today. I just wanted to give you guys a brief overview. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'm looking forward to getting feedback from the YouTube community, see what you guys think, and we'll pick it up from there. All right, guys, thanks. Bye.